Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Musu Gaming here, and today we're back with another episode of Unofficial Commander Spotlight featuring Alexander the Great, the World Conqueror. Alexander the Great is a versatile tank that can not only shield itself, but also others in a murder ball. He can also do massive damage to a single target that he's actually hitting with his second skill, and also buffs himself with many of his passive skill, giving him a lot of march speed as well as stats. But let's go ahead and jump right into his skill set and let's take a look at what he does. His first skill, with rage requirement of 1000, called Shield of the King. This commander's troop gains a damage absorbing shield for 4 seconds with damage factor of 1200. Grants an additional shield to nearby allied or friendly troop with the lowest percentage of units remaining for 2 seconds with damage factor of 600. So this skill right here basically allows you to not only shield yourself, but another ally that is most damaged. Also at the same time, up to 3 nearby enemy troops takes 30% more damage for 4 seconds. So he inflicts a damage taking debuff to up to 3 nearby allied troops, which will help you deal massive damage when you're swarming in a murder ball. Now his second skill is one of the most unique skills that he has in Rise of Kingdoms that makes him pretty powerful and also usable in Season of Conquest with introduction of smite damage and combo damage. Now, lead the charge, passive skill. So if this commander troop is on the map, their commander is immune to all damage reducing debuffs, which is pretty powerful aspect of the skill. And also, whenever this troop launches a basic attack, it has 10% chance to deal extra direct damage of 1700 to the target and reduce the target's healing received by 30% for 5 seconds with cooldown of 3 seconds. Now, I don't usually put emphasis on the cooldown, but 3-second cooldown is very, very short. And if you're lucky, you can actually cycle this skill up to 3 times within the 10-second skill cycle window. So this is a very powerful skill as long as you can trigger this as many times as possible. His third skill, Frontline Commander, gives you 30% march speed and 30% attack damage while on the map. Pretty straightforward, pretty powerful. If this commander's troop is not with a shield, does not have a shield, so Battle of, I don't know how to say that, Cheronia? I don't know how to say that, but then again, if this commander's troop does not have a shield, gains 40% attack, pretty good. If this commander has a shield, it gains 30% defense. So 40% attack or 30% defense, based on whatever situation that you're in. Either way is pretty powerful skill overall. Now that his expertise is basically empowering the first skill, which we already went over. So his skill set basically shows himself whenever you're inflicting a basic attack to whatever target that you're hitting, has 10% chance to inflict 1700 damage factor, which is pretty strong for season KVK season 2. And it has 3-second cooldown, which is pretty strong. So now we're taking a look at his skill set. Let's go ahead and take a look at where you can actually acquire him. Unfortunately, I don't have a Wheel of Fortune available at this very moment. But then again, he's one of those Wheel of Fortune commanders that you can actually acquire by spinning the wheel as you enter KVK Season 2. I think you'll be able to acquire him by having more than 10 Alexander the Great sculptures, which is most of the time acquirable by spinning about 10 to 15 times. So it's not that challenging for you to acquire and unlock him, but then again, for you to expertise him, it will be pretty tough. Now you've taken a look at how you can get him. Let's take a look at some of the museum buffs that can make him more relevant, even in the end game and late game in Season of Conquest. Now, Alexander the Great is one of the few commanders that are pretty powerful that also has a pretty strong relic as well. His relic, which is maxed at level 2, gives you not only 20% of infantry defense, but also gives you 6% normal damage reduction. Now, with a lot of cavalry as well as infantry going heavily towards normal damage as well as smite damage and combo attack damage, normal damage reduction does come in very handy on the field for any march. And Alexander the Great, with his 6% normal damage reduction, that can potentially go up with addition of relics, level 3 relics being added to the game in the future. His museum buff is pretty powerful. Now that's basically everything that you can take a look at in-game for Alexander the Great. Let's go ahead and move on to a tier list to find out what might be the best pairing for Alexander the Great based on what stage you're in the game. Now, in KVK2, you don't really have that many options for you to use Alexander the Great with. You only have 3 options, which is basically Lee Seong-gae, Charles Martel, and Richard the First. I think in KVK2, you should stick with Charles Martel and Lee Seong-gae for maximum AoE damage, and you should use Richard the First as your pairing for Alexander the Great. That will give them maximum sustain with shield and healing combined together, and it also doesn't overlap with the shield that Charles Martel has at the same time, while also doing a lot of damage with his Alexander II's second skill. Now, if you want to actually do more AoE damage, you can also consider putting Lee Seong-gae behind Alexander the Great and pair Richard the First with Charles Martel as a very tanky march. Now, in Season of Conquest, there's many different options that you can consider. I think the best options that there are currently is Liu Che. Liu Che, Alexander the Great, is one of the best infantry marches that you can actually use in the game at this very moment. So Liu Che is the best option for you in Season of Conquest as well as Endgame. Now, there is an alternative, which is actually Guan Yu. Guan Yu Alexander the Great was one of the best commander pairing that you could use in Rise of Kingdoms for a long time. It may not be the case at this very moment, but then again, if you don't have Liu Che maximized, or if you're using Liu Che with any other commanders, for example, like Philip, you can still use Guan Yu with Alexander the Great, with Guan Yu primary and Alexander the Great secondary, to get that classic infantry march revive for you. Now, those are the pairings that I actually recommend for Alexander the Great. Let's go ahead and move on to the final rating for Alexander the Great and see how he does when compared with other commanders that we take a look at in the past. Let's see. So Alexander the Great actually got, in terms of the final star rating, I'll give Alexander the Great I'll give him a 5-star. And the reason for this is because I think he's one of the best commanders in KVK2, which is where you'll be able to first get your hands on Alexander the Great. But then again, he's one of the very few commanders that you can actually use in Season of Conquest as one of the meta field marches that you can actually use. So I was thinking about giving him a 4.5 star, but I think he does deserve a 5-star if YSG got the 5-star. But it's a little different in terms of why YSG got the 5-star, because YSG is probably one of the best commanders in KVK1 and KVK2 in terms of best AoE commander. And he's also usable in Season of Conquest for Barb or, replacement Archer March. But Alexander the Great actually is a meta infantry march in Season of Conquest, so hence I think he does deserve a 5-star. And my commentary will be best investment infantry investment in early game. He's probably one of the best infantry investments that you can make in early game. He doesn't really wear off at this current stage of the game as of February 2025, and I think he does deserve a full 5-star. Now, what do you think about the ratings that I gave him? Do you agree with this list? If so, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you on the next video.